CBS is canceling the most popular late night show, Late Night with Stephen Colbert. It's going to go through one more season, and then it is going to end in next May after 10 months. Now, the network states that this is a decision motivated purely by finances. See, the late night genre has been going through a slump, and generally speaking, across the genre, you've seen about a 50% reduction in ad revenues. And this has led to a bunch of shows, for example, Seth Meyers' late night program, having to make difficult decisions about how to keep the show running, including cutting their live band, which was a sacrifice I'm sure the Seth Meyers show did not like, but they felt was necessary, as well as some staffing rearrangements. Seth Meyers is not the only show that has gone through this. James Corden's show, the guy who did carpool karaoke and went and sang, the songs with those celebrities and such, his show has already long been canceled. So Stephen Colbert's show being under pressure or having trouble, to me, is not that surprising. What is surprising is that they went straight full force with a cancellation. Number one, Stephen Colbert's late night show, while still dealing with the same effects of every other late night show is dealing with right now, is still the most popular late night show in the United States. Period. So for it to be canceled when there's so many other shows that are doing less numbers than them, it feels bizarre, especially since, why not try to do some staffing reshuffling? Why not cut the live band? Why? And I'm not saying they should. I like the live band. I mean, I don't really watch Stephen Colbert. I liked Conan more, I guess. But if you're going to, why not try to do things to make it cheaper to run the program and see if you can go and try to get more sponsors under the assumption of hey, don't you want to be sponsoring the #1 late night show, even if being the late night show ain't what it used to be? But no, they didn't make an effort at all. In fact, you'd at least think well, maybe we can try a new host, a new guest, get rid of Stephen Colbert, think of somebody else. I don't know. We'll get Shaquille O'Neal, Jim Cornette, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know, whoever, right? They think will bring back the ratings. But no, it's just pure cut. Now, again, they say it was a purely financial decision, even though they don't seem to have taken any actions to try to salvage the program. They just went straight to cutting the #1 name in news, in late night news. Mind you, though, right now, Stephen Colbert's numbers are actually doing better than what they used to do. When I say they're dealing with the same slump everybody else is, but since Trump has re-entered the White House, Stephen Colbert has had a lot of ammunition as one of Trump's biggest critics. Stephen Colbert is probably one of the most consistent voices criticizing Trump on TV. And whether or not he appeals to you or not, he doesn't particularly appeal to me. I don't think, doing a big dance next to people in vaccine costumes was really my type of humor, to be completely blunt with you. But it still reached a lot of people that did appeal to. That even if they don't find Stephen Colbert funny, he thinks he gives good enough takes, and they're a cable watcher and he's the guy on TV, or they've moved off of TV and they now watch his YouTube clips. And his show being taken off the air does mean one of the biggest Trump critic voices in television is going to be cut. Mind you, it's after another 10 months. So Stephen Colbert going up into the midterms, as the midterms get closer, he will still have a decent amount of range to fire at will, so to speak. But the speculation as to what exactly motivated this decision, considering it's still the #1 name in late night news, and they didn't really even make an effort to salvage the program in any way, has led people into speculation. And so this leads us to CBS's parent company, Paramount. Some of you might watch Paramount shows. I'm a guy who quite likes Bar Rescue. I quite enjoy it. But CBS is owned by Paramount, and Paramount, who's also known for doing the streaming service, is currently trying to go through a merger with a company by the name of Skydance. And in order to go through with a merger, you need to get federal approval. That means approval by the executive branch, which means approval by Donald J. Trump, because he's the current president. And these corporations ultimately are money-making machines. These subscription services, the broadcast services, these shows that serve content to you, their motivation, as is the motivation for all of these other big corporations, is to make money. And so CBS was already willing, at probably the impetus of their parent company, Paramount, to pay $16 million in a bribe. And that's something that can only be described as a bribe to Donald J. Trump, where Donald J. Trump sued the company for unfair coverage, meaning they didn't cover Harris mean enough and they covered Trump too mean, and they paid up $16 million, not because they couldn't win on the merits of the case, they could have crushed on the merits of the case, but because they wanted to buy the favor of the administration, and they hoped, they prayed that paying the president of the United States protection money instead of standing up for journalistic ethics and defending one of the pillars of our democracy, they thought a $16 million buyout would be easier if they wanted to go through with this merger, because CBS serves the interests of Paramount, which serves the interests of those on their board and those making money. And so while CBS has a public responsibility to all of us as the news outlet of Edward R. Murrow, for God's sake, they have a certain public responsibility. That public responsibility is being shafted when you pay those $16 million and encourage Trump to continue with this type of behavior instead of making it a public fight, a public spectacle that you will stand up for the freedom of the press, for the freedom to report, for freedom of expression. Instead, they paid the $16 million in protection money. But what they found is that often when you work for a protection racket, or you work for the mob and you give them, you take debt off of them or you try to please them, they always come back for more. And in this case, could that more be Stephen Colbert's? Well, let's listen to a little bit of Stephen Colbert's commentary as of late that viewers of the program have pointed to that have raised some suspicion.
My parent corporation, Paramount, paid Donald Trump a $16 million settlement over his 60 Minutes lawsuit. As someone who has always been a proud employee of this network, I am offended. And I don't know if anything will ever repair my trust in this company. But just taking a stab at it, I'd say $16 million would help. This settlement is for a nuisance lawsuit Trump filed claiming that 60 Minutes deceptively edited their interview with then-candidate Kamala Harris last fall. Paramount knows they could have easily fought it because, in their own words, the lawsuit was completely without merit. And keep in mind, Paramount produced Transformers: Rise of the Beast. They know completely without merit. Now, unlike the payoffs from ABC and Twitter, Paramount's settlement did not include an apology. Instead, that's good. Instead, the corporation released a statement where they said, "You may take our money, but you will never take our dignity. You may, however, purchase our dignity for the low, low price of $16 million. We need the cash." Now, I believe... What can I say? Mr. Stephen loves to dance. Now, I believe this kind of complicated financial settlement with a sitting government official has a technical name in legal circles. It's big fat bribe. Because this all comes as Paramount's owners are trying to get the Trump administration to approve the sale of our network to a new owner, Skydance. Not the music I was expecting? Okay. That was me dancing in the sky. And some of the TV typers out there are blogging that once Skydance gets CBS, the new owner's desire to please Trump could put pressure on late-night host and frequent Trump critic Stephen Colbert. Okay. But how are they going to put pressure on Stephen Colbert if they can't find him?
He's joking about his mustache, which is a new addition. Anyway, so there was the questions about pressuring of late night critics like Stephen Colbert, and with him directly calling out of the parent company, and this happening so soon after the fact. A ton of people had suspicion, and it's not just randos that are having suspicion. The Writers Guild of America is calling for an investigation. The Writers Guild of America called for Paramount to be investigated for bribery by the New York State Attorney following Thursday's announcement that The Late Show has been canceled. In the statement, the labor union says it has significant concerns that the move may have been intended to bribe President Donald Trump into sanctioning Paramount's pending acquisition by Skydance. Colbert is a frequent critic of Trump, having referred to Paramount's recent $16 million settlement with the president as a big fat bribe only 3 days before the cancellation. And the WGA, the Writers Guild of America, noted that the company could be, and I quote, sacrificing free speech to curry favor with the Trump administration. CBS, for its part, has said the late night show was canceled purely for financial reasons and not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount. Which, of course, business people are not known to tell mistruths. By the way, if you're wondering how Trump world's taking this, Trump has responded very positively to Stephen Colbert having a show canceled. I don't know if I actually have Trump's response to Colbert getting canceled on file already, but let's see if I can pull it up quickly so you guys can hear the glee, the giddiness by which Trump is celebrating this as a victory. Here it is. I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings. I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next. Has even less talent than Colbert. Greg Gutfeld is better than all of them combined. Mind you, Greg Gutfeld did not perform as good as Colbert, yet he's getting to keep his show, including the moron on NBC who ruined the once great Tonight Show. By the way, a lot of the Colbert hatred, while my critique of Colbert would be like maybe a certain amount of milquetoastness, conservative critiques of Colbert are certainly out there. Listen to this. OMG, I think Donald Trump indirectly got suspected Satanist Stephen Colbert fired. And this is the clip that they included as proof of suspected Satanism.
No, the Norquist is coming for me! I must appease him with the gift of a man-child. Come to me! I must feed you! I must feed you to the Norquist! Ah! No, take him! No, take the baby! Take the baby! Don't eat me, eat the baby! The baby will be fine.
So at least now we know America's safer. So we got that at least. Colbert is a pretty open Catholic. No, this post said he's a Satanist, so no. You say pretty open Catholic, like he came out of the closet. Mom, Dad, I follow the big hat. No, we wanted you to be Lutheran. We'll never accept you, son. This is a Greek Orthodox household.